Breaking into an investment bank is one of the toughest career challenges out there. What if I told you it's not just about being smart, it's about showing off a range of skills that set you apart from thousands of other candidates. So what are those skills and how can you develop and show these off in your interview process? I'm about to cover all of that in this video and more, so stick around to the end to make sure you land your dream offer in an investment bank or asset management firm. Why should you listen to me talk about this? Well, my name's Tarek. If you're new to this channel, I'm a product and technology leader at one of the world's largest investment banks, and I started my career 20 years ago working through financial services. I've secured everything from summer internships at some of the biggest banks, graduate schemes where I've worked in front, middle and back office, and I've secured job offers at Goldman Sachs, which is one of the notoriously hard application processes out there. So stick around in this video because I've been in the trenches. I'm currently a hiring manager in an investment bank as well, so I'm coming at this from an interviewer's perspective, and I'm going to share the inside secrets and try and help you secure that job and take you one step closer. And whilst you might think that you may need specialist knowledge to get into investment banking or asset management, that really is not the case. It's more about a particular set of skills that you can show off to show that you are a fast learner. And let's get it straight into this now in this video and go through these skills. So the first thing, and this is probably the most obvious one, is having the technical acumen you need for the role. So whether you're applying for a financial facing role, a customer facing role in a bank or an asset manager, or you're going for an engineering role, there is a degree of sort of technical skill that is required there for that role. So if you're going into a role in quantitative analysis that you'd like to go into, then you need to demonstrate that you have skills in quantitative analysis, skills in that space. So if you're going into a portfolio management role or financial modeling role, you'll need to show that you've got those skills, or that you can demonstrate those in your first stages of your interviews around portfolio management theory and financial modeling theory as well. So that is something you cannot get around. It's one of the things you need to know when you're going into a role very early on. If you're applying for a graduate role and you don't have these skills in the workplace, I should say, you can still learn some of the key concepts and theory over YouTube, watching videos, etc. But showing that you've got an interest and an understanding is important too. So whether it's an entry-level role or you're going in for a more sort of senior role in those space, showing your technical acumen in that space is important. And regardless of the type of role you're going into, the next skill is going to be across the board, and it's really your acumen around quantitative analysis of large data sets. It doesn't matter which part of the bank you work in. When you're working in a bank or an asset manager, you're faced with large data sets. So you need to show your comfort with firstly taking these data sets, whether it's in a large spreadsheet or in a database, and finding insights from these. So showing examples of how you've done this. If you are new to the world of work, then you can show this via a project or something that you've done at home, or some demo of a scenario where you've taken a large data set and tried to glean insight from it. This is a very important skill that will set you apart from a lot of people who have not been able to particularly demonstrate this in their application process, particularly in the early stages of your career. If you're able to show this through your university projects, or maybe a side project you can create just for the interview process, that will set you apart. So what we're looking for in this skill is around complex problem solving. It's about how you take such a large data set and break it down and show that you can find insight through taking a data-driven approach to finding the insight through the data set. You can also show off, if you are looking to be more advanced, skills such as Python. Even if it's done very lightly, you can show that you are aware of Python as being a really good language, which is most commonly used now in the front office, to be used to manipulate data and also get insights from it. Outside of Python, there is Excel itself, and having skills within manipulating data in Excel, maybe creating pivot tables and doing a lot more advanced formulaic stuff there. You don't need to be an expert and get into this, but what you're trying to show the interviewer is that you have the aptitude and the knowledge around this product set, around quantitative skills, the Excel or maybe the Python. You're aware of this and you've shown some level of intuition around it, that is what's going to set you apart from other people who have just not even bothered to touch that. If you're also able to show off some statistical analysis work that you've done, that really helps as well. And then most of the time, if you're going into an investment bank and you've come from a numerical degree of some form, then you would have had some statistical analysis at some point in your degree pathway. If not, then try and do this as a side project, as I've mentioned, but just showing that you're able to analyze data and look at the different statistical values that come out of this, the insights that are derived. And it could be something really left of field. It could be the data on the weather, for example, and tracking the weather over time. It doesn't need to be all about financial services and financial data. That's very important. The next skill is industry knowledge. So depending on where you're applying to, if you're applying to one of the big asset management firms or one of the big investment banks, you need to look at what's around that investment bank, the knowledge in that industry around it. So what's going on in the latest sort of market trends, maybe read some of the latest market outlooks that have come from these banks that you're applying to, or more widely from financial advisors and people on YouTube who are covering these sort of fields. But what you want to do is show that you're comfortable with the vocabulary, and that only comes through time of you reading and watching videos and getting really comfortable with the terminologies that are used in the industry. So if you're able to show that you have a comfort level with these, then that's great. So just knowing the very basic things, like if you're in an asset manager, you may want to know about the difference between a high net worth individual and an ultra high net worth individual. That's one thing. You may want to know about the asset classes and what the different asset classes are. You may want to look into some structured portfolios and structured funds and how funds operate, different levels of risk. And you may also want to look at market commentary from that asset manager or investment bank that you're applying to, and make it known that you're aware of the latest insights and research coming from that bank itself. So all of that knowledge is a lot of reading, but it's well worth your time if you're able to do that. And you can also use generative AI tools, and I've got a whole other video where I've used generative AI in a job search actually, so I will link to that video here. But you can use generative AI tools like Notebook LM to really help distill that information for you, taking websites, PDFs, YouTube videos, get all of that information together. Generative AI can really help you summarize that and just get the key insights that you need for the interview. And likewise, I should link back to the previous comment skill around quantitative analysis. And I did mention Python there. And with Python now, generative AI models actually write Python code. So if you're using GPT or Gemini or one of those big models, you can actually generate Python code from there. So don't think that you have to be an engineer to solve a dataset problem. You can actually use generative AI there as well. So that's something you can equally show off in the interview as well. One of the big things in an investment bank that you just can't get away from, and it's the key skill here that will differentiate you but also help you go up the ladder, is communication skills. Communication skills are core to any job really, but particularly in an investment bank, it's very, very crucial to be able to articulate information that may not be easy information to digest and share with others. So showing off your communication and presentation skills is absolutely fundamental to being successful. So you may be asked questions in an interview that are structured in a way to see whether you are able to articulate clearly. It could be that you're asked to do a presentation on a certain topic, or maybe you're given a problem statement and you need to go through describing how you would solve that problem, and doing that in a concise and articulate way. This shows the interviewer that you are able to communicate at a level that is being able to break down information, but also you can take complex problems and complex terminologies and turn them into something that's a little bit more easier to understand for people who may not be technical or have the financial aptitude. So it's really important to show off those presentation skills, the ability to articulate concisely. It's really important to not ramble, and that really shows in an interview as well. If you're going to ramble on around a question but not answer the question in an interview in an investment bank, that's a straight up rejection, really. So do not just ramble on about things that you do not know how to answer the question. The better thing to do is ask questions to help you get to the answer you need to get to, but then also take them through your thought process of deducing what the answer could be. And that's really important to do that rather than just rambling. If you've got examples of where you've written reports or you've written presentations or pitches, these are all great things to bring to the interview to show that you are a good communicator. You're able to influence and articulate very clearly as well. How you communicate is also important. Really try your best to be confident, a confident communicator. Speak clearly, speak with purpose, and really try to understand that you don't have to know the answers to everything, and don't feel insecure about that, but it's how you approach the problem. And even giving it a go in a confident way, even if you don't have the knowledge, is better than just fumbling about and just, not getting to a rambling state. So really be clear and concise and really feel confident in your communication skills. When you're working in an asset manager or an investment bank, these are quite often large companies. You can get small boutique firms, but if you're going for one of the big names effectively in the investment banking or asset management world, then there's going to be a degree of relationship management and networking that is needed. And these companies, they have hundreds of thousands of employees sometimes. So being able to show your thinking laterally and able to collaborate laterally across the bank is something that will see you do well in the interview process. Even if you are a graduate, you can show that you're able to get to an endpoint by involving people outside of what you're doing. So it could be an example of where you have worked with others, influenced others to come and help you do a certain bit of work, or maybe it's a project that you've worked in at university where you had to do this in a group. But either way, you want to show that you can collaborate with people who aren't like you, who do not have the same skills as you. Maybe they have a different personality to you, but you're able to successfully work together and bring a good conclusion to the end result that you're looking for. And that's showing the interviewer that you are firstly collaborative, but you're also quite strategic in how you think and how you build relationships. And you understand the importance that in a large bank, a lot of the work that's done isn't done in isolation, and that you need to be able to work cross-functionally. So it's really important that you can demonstrate that either in your CV or also in the interview with some examples. And this ties into the next skill quite nicely. You want to really be showing off your emotional intelligence, and that comes quite nicely from working with others. But if you're going through a director role or a senior management role as well, your emotional intelligence plays a more heavier part of that interview process. Really your ability to resolve conflict, how resilient you are in the face of adversity against the work you're doing, and how you're able to influence and bring people together, your understanding of where people are coming from and why they have made certain decisions, and how you can influence and get to a point where you are working towards a common strategy that benefits you and them as well. So that emotional intelligence of how to handle difficult situations and have consistency in your approach, that's very key as you go up the ladder and you're going into more roles that are senior in a corporate world, but also in the junior roles. Well, if you're going into a graduate or entry level or sort of say analyst, senior analyst role, you can still display those skills, and actually that sets you apart from a lot of people who have just focused on the technical financial skills. If you talk more about how you've dealt with pressure, how you helped a team get to the selflessly work towards getting to a goal for a team, taking your ego out of the equation, all of that looks very good, and an interviewer is left with a sense that this is an egoless person who's able to drive work with others, and will be a really good fit for this team. So really think about that when you're answering questions as well. You want to show a high level of emotional intelligence and really having an egoless collaborative approach. To be successful in an investment bank or an asset asset manager, you need to be what is called T-shaped. So T-shaped is a term used to show that you have horizontal knowledge, but then you're able to dive deep into a problem and deep into the detail to solve issues that may be happening at a granular level. So having both the breadth of knowledge across an investment bank in terms of, the financial knowledge or technical information, front, middle and back office as an example, and then working more into the vertical if there is a problem in one area, understanding how to do that. That sort of T-shaped view is what really sets you apart from other people. But that is how you accelerate your career in an investment bank as well. So knowing that from the outset that you need to have this sort of T-shape, it's really important to start demonstrating that in the interview process. Even if you give an example of how you've had to have a breadth of knowledge, but then really laser focus into a problem to solve it, unblock it, and then go back to having that sort of helicopter view of what's going on end to end. That's a really key skill that will show you that you are potential in the investment bank to learn new things on the horizontal scale, but then also you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves and get into the nitty gritty to understand a problem and try and solve that problem. So that attention to detail may come up. That may come up more in the more junior roles if you're applying for analyst and senior analyst positions or entry-level positions. There'll be a focus on execution of work and trying to check, do you check for errors? How do you ensure there are controls in place to make sure that these errors do not happen in a process? But then also just trying to show them that you are in the detail enough to make sure that you're handling errors and mistakes, but also looking at the real ins of a process. So really in the earlier stages of your career, you have to show what you have delivered. You can show reports that you may have worked on, data sets that you've manipulated, processes that you look after if you're already in work. But then if you're not in those places and you need to show, say you're fresh out of university, for example, then you can show your mindset around risk and control, being able to work effectively, but make sure there are controls in place to ensure human error is avoided. One skill I particularly look for when I'm hiring, and I am currently hiring, but I really look for learning agility. And what I mean by that is I don't expect a candidate to know everything, but what I do expect them to have is a skill that enables them to learn quickly. When there's a new concept, a technical knowledge set that we want to bring into the team, just having the space to learn that, try things out, test and learn and fail, and then just move forward, but really learning from that agility, not thinking that if they don't know something, then they can't approach the problem. And that learning agility spans throughout an investment bank. Some of the large investment banks, whether you're in a front office, a financial role, or whether you're in a back office role, look for people with this growth mindset where you're looking to solve problems even if you don't have the knowledge. And that is all part of this learning agility where you can demonstrate that I picked up something new, I tried it, I learned what I could, I worked with others, and I was able to solve this problem. And that can take you so far, even in my level in a bank where you're in executive leadership, that can take you very far. Just the effect you can have by picking up problems and not saying no effectively, and just trying to learn as you go and do the best that you can to solve the problem for the bank. And you can show those in your CV that you've got learning agility where you picked up a new skill or you helped solve a problem that wasn't your problem to solve and you didn't have the knowledge in that area. But that is something that will 100% set you apart from other people. And the icing on the cake, if you're already in an investment bank or asset manager, then you'll probably know about the regulatory bodies that are in your jurisdiction in your country. Whether you're watching this video in the UK, it would be the FCA or the Financial Ombudsman Service. There's different regulatory bodies in the US. You've got the OCC, for example, and you've also got the SEC. But these regulatory bodies, it would be good as a sort of icing on the cake to understand some of their key frameworks, because a lot of the time you are working in a regulatory environment if you are looking to work in a bank. And if you haven't worked in another regulatory environment, say for example pharmaceuticals or another regulated environment, then you'll need to demonstrate that you have knowledge of regulation or you're aware of regulation, because more often than not regulation trumps anything else in terms of what work you're doing. So always stay within the regulations. And I'm not saying you have to rattle off, regulations left, right and center, but just being aware that there is a body that you need to adhere to some of their rules. For example, if you're in the UK, one of the good ones to learn is the FCA's treating customers fairly, the rules around there, just understanding that you have to treat customers fairly, that you need to give them the right information, not mislead them. So there's some rules around that, but just having that knowledge is great. And also likewise in the US, you can link those to the regulatory bodies there. But that awareness also shows that you've got a good understanding of the industry, and it makes the interviewer feel comfortable or confident that you are able to, take this role on and you understand the regulations. So we've gone through quite an extensive list of skills in this video, but these skills 100% will help you to land your job, and it should secure you an investment banking offer. And if you are not finding that you are able to land a job offer, then comment below, or happy to answer any questions and help you on your path to securing a job. But really want to help with the knowledge that I have after 20 years of working in financial services and now hiring in people to work in these roles. I can help lend a hand in terms of the skills and the CV that you are looking at as well. So please like and subscribe to this channel. I've got lots of videos and playlists on this topic and much, much more, helping you to really scale to executive leadership quickly. And I'm on this journey myself. And if you want to follow and see how I get on in my own career as well, then stay tuned for more videos.